Hey guys, welcome to the Money Tree. I'm David Holt.
And I'm David Marks.
And we are the Dueling Daves. We're here to have some fun tonight.
We are going to have some fun tonight. I have a good feeling about tonight.
Do you?
I have a really good...
Well, you look so dapper in your little blazer. Is that a new coat?
It's kind of new. It's about a month and a half old.
And a shirt. Where's the tie?
The tie didn't make it tonight. You know, Bear Bryant always said, wait a minute, wrong kind of tie. Never mind. That's...
My wife will not like that because she's an Auburn fan, and there are people from all around the world watching us on the Money Tree, so you have to be careful. We do not single out any particular football affiliation.
I could give a Pat Dye comment.
You could, but we're going to be talking about money. And
those guys made money too, so.
We are so... You see us smiling? School is out and kids are out for the summer.
Yes, they are, and I hope everyone's having a good summer break and getting to enjoy some sunshine.
So this is being recorded almost on June the 1st.
Almost. Within probably 4 hours.
Well,
almost there.
You're really smart. We are having a great summer, and we are recording here a couple of shows because our cameraman's going out of town.
Right, and he does a great job, and of course I always think that it's time that we give props to Mountain Valley newspapers for allowing us to do this, and then of course
Farmers Telephone TV,
yes.
FTC Channel 6, where you're watching us on TV.
Yes.
Also, you can watch us on Facebook. People have been sharing our videos and saying really nice things, and so today we're really excited about the new stuff we're going to be bringing to you. And if you've got some young people around, you need to get them close to the television or computer screen or whatever.
Sure.
We want to teach them a few things tonight. Hope you'll brush up on your check writing skills.
Yes, and that's one thing that, you can always share and tag a friend in a video. For those of you who have a grandchild or a child who you want to share this information that we give out to, then you can share that video and tag them in it. We want you to do that kind of stuff.
Now, I just want to say, I write checks, been writing checks a long time, but sometimes my wife says, don't write a check this week.
That would be because probably funds are a little low.
We're watching the balance.
Sure. Well, and I hope that through the things we've done, that we're starting to see where you're budgeting and you're getting prepared. And writing a check at one point in time was your major way to have a transaction without carrying a lot of money with you. Mm-hmm. And of course, now we're coming into a different age, which is swiping the debit card, which we will also relate to some degree today. And in time, this is a little prophetic kind of thing.
Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen.
I believe that we will probably pay most of our things with our smartphone or through some type of transaction like that. Maybe even our smartwatch. You'll, go up to the gas pump, swipe your arm or your phone, and you'll pay through that. Because think about it, we do a lot of mobile banking through apps. You can check your balance almost any time, or you can all the time. And a lot of stores and convenience stores have started using this microchip technology.
Do you think that's really wise? I mean, let me just say, I was thinking about this today. If I have to put out a 20 or something, carry some cash and pay for it with cash, it hurts a little more than swiping the plastic or waving the watch or whatever the case may be.
I do think that as you see people transition into those kind of things, that you will probably see a new generation coming along that will probably face money problems.
Because they don't really have the concept of what they're spending.
They do not. They will spend that money so fast that they'll lose the concept of it actually leaving their hand or leaving their wallet. And it'll be too convenient almost.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to have life inconveniences. We know that we live in a drive-through society. We want something now.
We were just talking about, we haven't had supper. Our camera guy had a steak, and we're just like growling stomachs.
And I offered to buy, which is huge.
The dollar menu. So
it was the dollar menu. But
that's at least
I offered. I might splurge for a little bit more than that.
Okay.
We can see. But I do think that as technology changes and as people do, so this may seem like a very archaic way, but I do think that if you are working off of a budget and you're not going to do an automatic draft with your bills, that check writing is going to be what you use. Now, of course, we have online bill pay.
Right.
I mean, there's all kind of avenues now that maybe my parents didn't have 30 years ago. They had to sit down at the kitchen table with a checkbook and write those checks to those companies to pay those bills, Sand Mountain Electric, whoever it may be, and they would Farmers Telephone. They would write that check out every month, to where now you can go online and pay, and we know that.
Well, and the other thing is keeping track with how much you got left. Several events I've done with children over the
Sure.
past year, students have no clue about a ledger, how to put that money in and deduct expenses and how much is their balance.
And we are going to cover that today. And parents, not only that, but we're going to have some fake or whatever checks online that you can download that your students can, or your students, there's the
Children.
teacher inside of me there.
Your darlings, your children.
Your little blessings in life can, may not feel that way sometimes. You can download these and you can have them hand fill these out, practice with them, even a young child. And we'll, of course, also have a check register that you can download that they can do the same thing with. So you can sit down with your child, with your grandchild, and say, hey, we're going to work on this today.
And you need to teach them to sign their name.
Sure.
That is a lost
Yes.
art. A lot of kids just like, we got to sign? I got to write it in cursive?
Right, yeah.
Yes, that's important to sign your name.
We may go back to the days of like Reconstruction where people just make an X. I don't know if that probably wouldn't be good.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know.
But a lot of times when you go through and you use a credit card or a debit card, you're supposed to sign something. They don't care what you write.
Do you think that there'll be teenagers who might write their PIN number on their signature line of their check?
They might.
Right.
We hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, we hope not. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why I signed it with my pen. So here's my question to you. I always love to ask questions.
You gotta prompt me into this question.
Right. So here we go. We're going to segue in.
Okay.
Let's say
that means we're going to the next part.
Right. Let's say that you have a teenager and you're going to carry them to the bank and open that experience here.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to draw from this.
Okay, you're drawing from it.
You ask people who've been there. So you have this teenager who wants to open a checking account. You carry them to the bank. What do you teach them once you open that account? Do you just say, "Here you go, kid," and you just let them
Manage
go?
your money?
Well, you do want to teach them to manage your money, but it's not only just the simple fact of saying, "Hey, you need to manage that money that you've got," because
Don't you have to have money to open an account like that?
Well, you do, and we're going to cover that.
Okay.
Mom and dad, I would give you this advice: lean on their grandparents. Because I know that if my sister and brother-in-law were going to take Gavin, my nephew, to open an account, dad would be happy to chip in some money to do. And it's amazing. I used to have to mow the yard for free, so I don't know how that changed. But.
Yeah. Well, it is important to teach them to open a checking account so that they can start managing money.
Sure.
And that's the whole point. You're trying to teach them to manage. Just like when they were little, you taught them to sit at the table and chew with their mouth closed, and
Very
how
important.
to use a fork and a knife and those kinds of things, how to behave in public. You need to teach them how to write a check and manage their money.
Sure, and you need to teach them how to deposit money.
Yes.
And we're going to also have deposit slips. This will be a fake bank, but deposit slips you can download as parents and show them how to fill those out. Now, here's one neat thing about technology changing is, deposits, the old school way is you carry that cash or that check to the bank, you fill out your deposit slip, and you give it to the person working there.
That's the way I do it today. Yes.
Okay. I do not.
Really?
Yes. With any of the side businesses that I have, like I have a social marketing business on the side, and with that, when people pay, a lot of times I'll just use the app because you take a picture of the check and it automatically deposits it into your account. But I still have to do, sometimes I still have to do the
What if they pay you in cash?
Pay in cash, then you just put that in the safe. That's rainy day money.
Right.
Yeah.
In other words,
Most
money?
Yes. Most cash that I keep on hand stays in the safe. I don't spend most cash that I have. Very, very few times will I do that. Any cash I have, I just stick back. So,
Okay.
but it's on my little nest egg. So you also want to teach them about deposits,
Yes.
putting money into the bank, and then what we're going to really cover today is you want to talk to them about withdrawals, which
Writing
is
checks. And your kids say, "Mommy, you got checks, write a
Just
check."
write a check, yeah. But see, it takes you depositing money to be able to withdraw money.
Joy kill. Joy
Yeah,
kill.
well, there's the fun side, and
I
then
spend
there's
it.
the not so fun side.
Yeah.
Someone,
Frugal.
someone has to be the boring person, and I guess I can take that on.
And he has the blazer to prove it, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen.
Well, at least I'm not using a monotone voice. I could do that. We're going to talk
We're going
about
to talk.
checks today. So let's look at our first slide if we can. Let's talk
Okay.
about check writing for just a moment, and if we will, let's look at the first slide.
That's to Arlen Blevins, but he doesn't have a D at the end of his name.
I'm sorry, Mr. Blevins. I misspelled that name.
That's even more funny.
That's a typo on me. So if you have someone who you write a check to, let's go over the different parts of writing a check.
Okay.
So let's do that first. First thing, most important, is the date. Why do you think it would be important to put the date on the check?
It means when you wrote it.
It does mean when you wrote it, and checks can expire. I guess we can use that word.
Means you're no good after so many days.
Right.
How many?
There's usually between 30 and 60 days. Different banks may vary. But after 30 days, you may have to get another check for something.
Really?
Yeah, 60 I would say definitely.
So you can't hang on to it for 6 months?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
Now, the bank may take that check, but they may call, and there may be, because think about what can change in a person's life in 6 months.
Yeah.
So if I wrote you a check today, that check is basically my way of saying I have enough money in the bank to pay you this much. I don't have the cash on hand, so my bank covers me with this piece of paper.
Gotcha.
That's basically what a check does. Well, if I write a check today and you wait and hold it 6 months, that's a long time to see if I still have those funds.
That's why you never post date a check?
Right.
Or
exactly.
accept one that's post dated?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You never want to do that. So the second part of that, and this is one of the most important parts, is the name of the organization that you're paying.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, on this, we have Mr. Blevins' name is spelled on there. Thank you, David Marks, for misspelling that. You know, I'm not a great speller.
Hey, it's okay.
Because we can't.
He's been called a lot worse.
That's true, and we can't all spell right. So here we go. Seeing that, you want to put the name of the person or the entity that you're writing it to on this line.
Okay.
And you want to write that legibly.
Yes. Can they print?
They can print. Of
Okay.
course, that can be done, but you know, you want to have a unique handwriting to your checks because there is things that can happen with your checks. Criminal activities.
People would alter them.
People can alter them. People may try to change what you do. So you want to almost be unique. You know, we all, kind of like a fingerprint, we all have our unique way of writing.
Yes.
And your handwriting is probably a lot better than mine. Mine is very sloppy. But
so you almost were a doctor?
Well, no.
I heard doctors can't write.
You know, I did want to be a doctor when I was in kindergarten.
Okay.
And then I went to first grade and figured out that was out.
Okay,
So, you know, the work got a lot harder. I was an engineering major when I started out, so I was just taking notes as fast as I can. Terrible handwriting. So my handwriting is different than your handwriting. Mr. Blevins is different than ours, and the whole audience, of course, knows they have their own handwriting. So this is also a way if someone were to take my checks and try to write a check with it, the bank could probably pick out, hey, this is not his handwriting.
Yes.
And we're going to get to a second part of why that's so important in just a few minutes.
Okay.
So first we cover the date. Then we cover writing it to the entity, to the person who it's to, making sure that you write that legibly so that people can see it. The third thing we want to cover is writing the amount in numerals.
Yes.
Or as we might say in our area, put it in numbers.
Put it in numbers.
Write them numbers down. And it's very important that you use decimals.
Yes.
And that you put everything correctly, because there's going to be two ways the bank is going to look at this and see how much money needs to be withdrawn. They're going to look at this box, which has the numerical amount, as we see on our slide there, $350.72. Okay. Then they're going to look at the next line, is where you write the amount in words. Now, quick little fact here. This is a grammatical thing, and if there's coworkers I have, Rhonda Lasser is our English teacher, she's probably just going to correct me on this. But when you write amounts out, what is one mistake that we say it, so therefore we write like we talk a lot of times?
We don't put the and.
We'll put the and, or we'll put too many ands, or we'll do something. So we'll say, well, that's about 350 and 500. You know, we throw out a lot of ands.
Yeah.
Did you like my?
I did.
That was
very country.
You know, from my family there. So the way we want to do that is you want to write out of the amount. So you see that we have written $350.
No and there.
No and there. And 72. Now, why did I do 72
Because,
over 100?
Well, first of all, the and goes where the decimal point is.
Yes.
And 72 over 100 means, well, I know it's hundreds, but it's,
What are pennies worth?
100. I don't know if I cent, you know, out of 100. 100 pennies make a dollar.
Make a dollar, that's right. You had the concept, it is almost
Okay.
probably past 8 o'clock. So,
It is,
and you have
but-
an 8.
I haven't. But let me tell you a trick. Someone I know
Okay,
that lives with me,
okay.
she puts only in front of every when she's writing it like only $350.72.
So it's like almost a tease to those people you're writing the check to. You could have had more, but
you only get.
you only get this amount.
I mean, that to me, I think I never do it.
I haven't either.
I think that's the habit she had.
Mhm.
And so if she writes a check, the words always start with the word only.
I've never heard of that.
Well, you need to research that because I'm giving props to my wife.
Yep, and she'll be proud.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe.
So I think so. Brownie points. So you see there where we have written the amount, $350.72 or $100, and it will match the box.
Where you wrote it, the number.
That's what the bank is going to look at to make sure that you have matching, because you can write the wrong amounts on there.
Which one do they pick if they're different?
Well, I've heard different banks do different things. I've always been told that the handwritten line is the one that they take.
Okay.
Because going back to your signature, going back to your handwriting style, you can manipulate numbers in a box when they're numerically. I could even look at your numbers and almost mimic them. It's going to be a lot harder for me to change that handwritten line.
Okay.
So that's the one that, by default, I've been told they will always look at. Bank
Okay.
people, maybe you could help us out with that. Then, of course, the next thing we have is the signature line. This is where you will sign your name, not your pen.
In cursive.
In cursive. Why would that be important, you think?
Because it should be unique to you.
It should be unique. Kids, are you listening up? Teenagers? Put down the cell phone for 5 minutes and listen. You need to make sure that you sign that line in cursive, because if you sign that in print, people can mimic that a lot easier. A lot easier. So it's going to be a unique identifier. And of course, the last line we see there is what it's for. Now, why would that matter?
Well, so number one, you know what you wrote it for, but number two, like if you're paying off a bill of some kind, there's usually an account number there. If you put that account number, they know where to apply the money.
They know where to apply it, and that's always a good rule of thumb if you have an auto loan to put that account number on that check so that it can be applied to that account. I always think that's a good rule. Or just, if you have someone come do lawn work for you, you may want to put that on there. Or charitable donation. You may want to write that on there if you do that, just because you're going to keep records.
And then you can keep it on your taxes.
You can take it off on your taxes, yes.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you write why you're writing that check on there, what you're writing the check for there. And, of course, you can see on our slide it's for the Money Tree Cameraman work. So
hey, man, he's making a killing.
he is.
Much more than we are.
And he'll probably get a raise after the
He
harassment
had
from
steak
today.
tonight. Did
That's
I say
right.
that already?
I think you did. So now let's roll into our next portion of this, which is to me, writing checks, knowing how to write checks is important. You need to practice that with your child. I almost said student again. You need to practice that with your child. This next part, though, is more crucial than actually showing them how to write a check, and that is keeping a ledger or keeping a balance sheet. So we're going to talk about keeping a bank register, and again, we're going to have this for you to download.
Yes. Or sometimes they come with your checks, the little thing where you write
They do.
how much it is.
They do. But, I do believe in living by the KISS method in life.
And that means keep
keep it simple, stupid.
Mm.
So
Silly. Keep it
silly.
silly.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe that was just unique to what my family called. So, but you want to keep it simple. If you have a checkbook here, and a checkbook there, and then you've got your register, you're spreading yourself out to make an error. So I would say keep 2 at the most.
Okay.
Keep your check register with you if you want to do that. And then keep your books, of course, at home that you need to make sure match with your bank statements, things like that. Now,
or you could put it on an Excel spreadsheet, and it's always
that we
accurate.
have for free downloads.
That's exactly right.
So, with this check register that we're going to talk about for just a second, I want to add an important one thing more to the checks. Banks offer to where you can get checks with carbon copies as you write them. I recommend doing that. Now, a lot of banks will charge you an additional fee for having that. Maybe it's $5 per book or whatever. It's worth the money, because when you go back, if you're not sure what you have written that check for, you have that carbon copy to back that up. So when you order those, make sure you do the carbon copies.
We don't have those, but he does.
I do. I have the carbon copies. So, all right, now let's talk about our bakery. If we can, let's flip over to our slide 2 for just one moment.
Okay. This is our register here.
As we're looking at this register, you can see where this is if the student, child, whatever, went to the bank. I did it
Hard
again.
for you not to say
It's
student.
like old habits just die hard. So first we can see at the very top different columns. We have a number column, which is your check number when you write, the date, the transaction, the payment debit. Now, some of these may look different, but a lot of them may look the same. Under code, I wrote a C like, hey, that's cleared my account. And we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Yeah. Deposits, of course, fees would be if you have written a check that has what we call bounced.
Ouch.
That means you had insufficient funds. There's a fee applied. And then the last column is for your balance. Now, there's not a column.
That's the thing I couldn't get the kids to do when we did a ledger.
Balance
I could not
that.
get them to balance it and separate the they were all debits. They're all taken away, and I could not get them to understand and keep the far column just where they kept the running balance.
Sure. So as we're looking at this, you can see that there's not a heading that says balance, but there's $100 in there. There's a reason why I did that, because as you fill up one register, you want to carry your balance over to the next sheet or the next slide, whatever you have. So I carried $100 over in this account. So let's say this was an already existing account that your child has. They had $100 balance when they rolled over that amount. So now we're looking at where money from mom and dad has given that child $400. It may be for, mowing the yard, for an allowance, whatever it may be, but they have that $400 deposit. After that deposit, you can see that we did the math, and now they have $500 in their account. So we want to keep our balance in this. The next line we see there as we're looking at this slide, we have written check number 621. So 621, the date was 5/31. It was written to Mr. Blevins, which is the example we gave, again misspelled. And it was from the money tree. We have the amount, which was a debit or a payment. So, as you see that there has been a payment debit, that means we have withdrawn money from that account.
Yes.
The check has cleared our account. That's where we match it with our register. And then our balance is $149.28.
Now, in my family, we put a check mark.
And you can do that.
Okay.
I just put a C just for convenience sake. It can be whatever indicator. If you want to draw a star, just as long as it's your
stars.
Yes, as long as it's your symbol for whatever you want it to be. You could put a frowny face, I guess, if it was taking money away. Next, I added in another deposit there for working at the pool.
Hey, I wonder where that came from.
I might have pulled that idea from you.
Hey, yes, I do that in the summertime. A little part-time job because the money tree has taught me to work to pay off debt.
Pay off debt, yes. And then the last line, hey, look, I even threw you on there.
Oh my gosh, I have an audio stereo store.
Good.
I'm glad Mr. Blevins is writing me a check.
That's right.
No,
well,
he's not. It's not his check.
This is a child, but they're writing you a check because, see, this child worked at that pool. They worked really hard. They had to pull kids out. Some kid got sick in the pool, dip net, all that stuff. So after all that takes place, they have made that hard-earned money.
They need to spend it with me.
And they spend it at your audio store because, kids have to have the new
latest sound,
M3P player in their car dash there. So
I just have a phone with Pandora, whatever.
Right. Whatever works, right?
Whatever, yeah.
So now we see that after those transactions have taken place, they have a balance of $96.88.
Hey, they're not in the red, which is good.
That's good. But what do you see about their starting balance and what they
They
have
had
so far?
$100. They're spending more than they
had.
than they took in.
They're rolling through the money.
True.
So parents, grandparents, whoever it may be, aunts, uncles, whatever, we want you to take time, download these, work with these on your child, and help them to see how to write a check and how to do the check registry.
Yes.
That's a good starting tool. Start it at a young age if you need to. Now, that brings us to our next topic.
Stock picks.
Stock picks. Stock picks. Oh, that's great. That was a good little segue into that.
Good.
You did a good job with that.
Thank you. I'm getting better.
So, if we can, let's look at our third slide. And looking at our third slide, I've given you 5 companies or 5 different stocks, be a better way to put it. I feel like you need to invest in. The first one is Gabelli Equity Trust. GAB is the symbol.
Okay.
It has a PE ratio, which we're going to cover on the next episode.
The next episode about stock market.
This is not physical education.
Okay.
So, PE ratio of 28.
And that's good?
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
And they offer...
I'm going to assume that's good.
We'll see. And they're going to offer a 2% dividend.
Well, you wouldn't have it as a stock pick that they should consider if it wasn't good.
Right.
Okay. So it's good, ladies and
Your
gentlemen.
context clues.
Hey, I'm getting better.
2% dividend and low volatility. which
Low
is,
volatility means it doesn't go
It
up and
doesn't-
down.
well,
Stays pretty steady.
it stays steady and it doesn't have large swings up or large swings down.
Okay.
You want to stay with something low volatility. The next one's I'm Gold Corporation, IAG. This is actually one that all of these I have investments in. It closed today at 447. And again, we're trying to pick stocks that are maybe affordable stocks people can get into. It enables you to invest in gold without dropping the big cash, as we've talked about before.
Because this is not your life savings. This is your fund money.
Yeah. Nuveen Tax Advantage Fund, JTD. It closed today at $15.97.
But a 9% return.
It has a 9% return with its return plus its dividend. Its dividend is going to be close to 2%, so you're getting about a 7% return on that so far this year.
That's good.
Yeah, it's very good. Ford Motor Company.
You had that last time.
I did, and the price on Ford last time was around $10.38, $10.48, and as you can see today, it closed at $11.12.
Going
So
up.
I think that Ford is still a safe buy at 11. I wouldn't want to buy into Ford over 12.50 probably, but Ford still gives you a 4% dividend. So you still, even if you bought it at 12 and they fail, you could still get your dividend off of Ford. And they're
my son
consistent.
just bought a Ford.
So there you go. So he's helping.
He's helping drive that stock market price up.
Right. And the last one I have there, another pick that I've used before, is the Liberty All-Star Equity Fund. This equity fund is very diverse. Has invested in over 100 companies and different stocks itself. It offers, again, about a 2% dividend, which doesn't sound like a lot, considering the stock is $5.57 a share. But over the last 5 years since this fund has been created, it has slowly made a growth. So it's slow growth. It's
Just like the little turtle, he just keeps walking.
he just keeps going, or as in Finding Nemo, you just
Keep swimming. I think we've said that before.
I was trying to kind of throw you a softball on
Oh,
that.
thank you. I appreciate that. He's trying to encourage me to be a better host, spokesperson, make me feel better about what I'm learning.
Sure.
At the money
Well,
tree.
that's what we do as counselors, is we make people feel better about who they are.
You don't have the couch where they say, "I'll have problems today." No.
Usually I'm not suck it up, buttercup. Life's tough.
Again, we certainly do appreciate you watching the Money Tree. We thank all of our friends at the mountainvalleynewspaper.com for their support. They believed in us, and my wife came up with a great idea to do this, and this is the brains behind the thing. He comes up with all the stuff to talk about. It leads me through it, so hopefully I can come up with things to ask that maybe you might ask.
Sure.
So if you don't know,
we had some questions this week posted on our Facebook page. So we'll probably try to start covering those. That's what we would love for people to do. Ask a question, like the page, ask a question, and we'll try to cover that.
Yes.
So, I think one question was about a virtual show maybe at some point in time to where we can go live and people will ask questions and we will answer them as they...
we have to get our sound guy to get more prepared. You
Well-
just can't come straight from the steak supper and come and start working that camera.
I did also have a contact this week wanting to know if we offered any kind of debt counseling to people. They wanted us
He
to
would be
sit down
great with that.
So
Yeah.
we might try to do a session
That'd be
too.
fine. And hey, you didn't get there overnight. You can't get that out of there overnight.
That's
Just
right.
Got to get out of it.
DavidOMarch.com//money-tree.
Money-tree.
Yeah. And Facebook.com/money-tree TV. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Hope you learned a little bit today.
Have a great day.